Hello listener, you are welcome once again to another edition of the Global Tutors online classes. As you know, we have been dealing with a couple of common mistakes in English language, and this is yet another edition. Before we proceed, please don't forget to like our page and hit the notification button. You'll be glad you did. Now, today we will start by discussing what we call tautology. Tautology can be defined as the repetition of two or more words that mean the same. In other words, words that should be used alternatively, which are not being used complementarily. So the first thing I want us to discover is the use of more and example better, for instance. Now, what is strong in this particular expression? Now, the wrong thing is the suffix er and the comparative adjective more. Now, when you look at it very carefully, this is called a comparative suffix. What is called a comparative adjective. Therefore, using two comparatives makes it what you call error of comparative tautology. Now, so what are we expected to do in this regard? You are expected to eliminate the ER, because only when ER is ineffective, that's when you need more. Let's go back down memory lane. Now, if you remember your elementary English, you know that at times they told us that the comparative form of tall is taller, while the superlative form is tallest. But when they gave us beautiful, they gave us the comparative form as more beautiful. What this tells us is this MOR and this ER, they have exactly the same function. So it is practically wrong and impossible for you to construct a sentence in English using the two together. Therefore, these expressions are wrong and hence they should be avoided. More better, more faster, more happier. These are examples of comparative tautology. So how do we correct them? You eliminate the more by saying, I feel better today, this car is faster, this man is happier than that one. Or you might further decide to express it by saying, I feel much better, this car is much faster, and this man is much happier. It is still very possible for you to team match with the ER, but don't you ever say more better, more faster, or more happier. Now, in the same vein, we also have expressions like, this is also common. Some people say, I am the most happiest person today. Probably when they are giving testimony in church or something, that's what we get this all the time. Oh, I am the most happiest person today. Now, the same error that applies to more and ER also applies to most and EST. Now, EST is a superlative suffix, while most is a superlative adjective. So combining most and EST in a single sentence is called error of superlative tautology, which means we should avoid it. Unlike more, which can be said to be much happier, much faster. When you are talking about the superlative means higher, so we cannot there's no way we can further express happiest other than happiest. So you cannot say more happiest, you cannot say most happiest, you cannot say much happiest. Happiest has to stand. That's the meaning of superlative. It is the high. So anytime you hear or use these expressions, most plus EST, you should know that you are wrong. Now, another correction is the use of can and any word that has BLE. Now, let me prove to you. Now, this BLE is also a suffix. Now, what it entails, what it talks about is ability or potency. Now, can also shows ability, which means both have they have the same functional element. So if I say, I can sing, and I say, I am able to sing, I have said the same thing. Therefore, can replaces BLE. Now, let's see how we'll be making errors in this regard. A lot of times people will say, can I get some money from you? No. That cannot be possible. Some even go as far as saying that cannot possible. This is wrong. Why? Very simple. You should not use can plus BLE. Now, how do we correct this? We either stick to this modal can and eliminate the BLE, or we stick to the BLE and eliminate the can. So how do we say this? Now let me rewrite this. That cannot be possible can simply be rewritten as that is not possible. You can equally say that cannot be. So you see that we have successfully used this, rewritten this sentence, avoiding the combination of these two. So when we stuck to this, we avoided this, and when we stuck to this, we avoided it. So from today, please, anytime you construct any expression in English, make sure you don't use can. It could be any form of can. For example, anybody say, I couldn't be able to talk. This is whether it is can or could, it's still the same. So I couldn't be able to talk. That should be I wasn't able to talk, or I couldn't talk. So please note, whether it is can or could, it should never be used with BLE. It is wrong. Alright, let's proceed to yet another correction, especially with regard to tautology. Now, a lot of times you hear people say something like, wow, I chose my school because of its close proximity to my house. Now, close proximity. Now, the word proximity is a noun that is derived from the adjective proximus, which means near. And near is a synonym for close. Therefore, close and proximus, they are the same. It is practically impossible and unnecessary for us to use close and proximity together. So how do we now say, I chose my school because of its proximity to my house, or because of its closeness to my house? Please don't ever use close and proximity in the same sentence, because they actually mean the same. Now, in similar vein, we hear people say something like this. The problem with this nation is that our leaders don't have new innovations. Now, unfortunately, inherent in the meaning of innovation is the word new. Now, when you look up the word innovation, you see something like new ideas. Therefore, in the meaning of innovation is the word new already. So replacing or repeating new is tautological. So what are we expected to say in this regard? We now say we are looking for leaders with innovation, or we are looking for leaders with new ideas. Don't you ever use new and innovation, because practically what you'll be saying is we want leaders with new ideas. New 2 times. That is wrong. Now let's consider equally important but more common tautologies that we hear all the time. For example, you hear, please reverse your car back. Please, anytime you reverse, it goes back. You don't need back. Sometimes you hear fall down. Anything that falls goes down. You don't need this. Sometimes you hear stand up. Sorry, when you stand, you're already going up. So these are very common tautology that we should avoid. So then we have raise up. If you know the answer to this question, please raise. I've never seen anything that raises and goes down. So all of these are redundant and unnecessary. Please reverse your car, or please move back or go back. You will fall, not you will fall down. Please stand, not please stand down. Please raise your hand if you know the answer, not please raise up your hand. Now, a similar thing is still on the issue of tautology. We hear somebody when they want to sound professional, now say, oh, it is imperative that you must pay the sum. It is imperative that you must pay the sum. As cozy as this sentence appears to be, it is wrong on grounds of tautology. Now, when you say something is imperative, it simply means that thing must be done. So, if I say something is imperative, then I have already implied the word must. Therefore, for us to correct this sentence, we have to say it is imperative that you pay the sum. It is imperative that you pay the sum. But if you're a fan of must, you have to use the word, then you simply say, you must pay the sum. It's not possible for you to use the word imperative and sum and must at the same time. They are wrong. Now, let's digress a little from tautology to something that I know will quite interest you. Now, let's consider this word, worth. Now, a lot of times I have heard personally people use this word as a verb. Sorry, worth is not a verb. It is either an adjective or a noun. So for this reason, it doesn't have tense. If it doesn't have tense, then it cannot be singular. So anytime you say, she does not worth your crying, or she does not worth you. This is a very wrong use of the word worth. Now, why is this so? For example, somebody will say, look at me very well. What do I worth? They think they are saying the right, but they are not. Now, because worth here is an adjective, in these two examples, they have been used as verbs. So they are wrong. So how do we use them? You only use worth with copular verbs like is, are, were, and so on. Therefore, to correct this, it has to sound, she is not worth your crying. She is not worth your crying. Not she does not worth your crying. The same thing. What do I want you to be? Look at me very well. What am I worth to you? So please note, whenever you use the word worth, avoid do, avoid did, use words like is, and so on and so forth. So it is very common for you to say, what are you worth? What am I worth? What is she worth? In fact, what is Nigeria worth in the global market? Now, before we wrap it up, when you see somebody who has this sort of crafty disposition, people who tend to cut corners and achieve their aim. A lot of times you hear them say, oh no, you are too cunning for my liking. I don't like cunning people. Sorry, this word does not exist. There is no word as cunning. A person with deceptive traits is cunning. Cunning. That's the correct word to use. So whenever you want to say something, you want to refer to somebody who is a bit crafty, a bit slicky, say, you are too cunning for my liking. Not you are too cunning for my liking. So on a final note, let's consider this a bit. We call it sometimes when it has to do with placement of pronouns. Like for example, we have the subject case, the object case. So when you have an expression, when you're supposed to use an expression where two subjects come together, they must belong to the same case. We call it case consonants. Now, what am I saying in fact? When do we say you and me? When do we say you and I? Practically. Now, for example, let's start with this. Somebody knocks on your door. Okay, now let's take this in analogy. Somebody has been at your door for 10-20 minutes, but you did not know. Why didn't you know? Because he did not perform any action. He neither knocked nor used the doorbell. That's why he didn't know. But the moment he does, or the moment he uses the doorbell, then you ask, who is it? Who is it? Do you know what you've just asked? You have just asked, who just knocked on my door? Who just pushed my doorbell? So when I have to answer in the subject form. Only I can knock the door, not me. So if somebody says, who is it? I have to say, it is I. Now, this is very common for us to say it is me. Technically speaking, when a sentence begins with it is or it was, we call it cleft sentence. Sometimes it's just for emphasis. So disregard the it is, then you know that you are wrong. Because by the time you say, who's that? Who's that? And you say, it's me. That means you have told me that me, not your dog. Whereas me is in the object case, it cannot perform an action. So from this day, please from today, make sure you know that it is I who am knocking your door, not it is me who is knocking your door. Until we come your way with yet another interesting and explosive edition, please don't forget to like our page and hit the notification button. From here, I am Ademola Adelo. I'll see you next time.